Hi guys, this is Niki Rowland and I'm designing today for Hip Kit Club. I'm using the July kits, so I have got the main kit, the Pocket Life kit, the embellishment kit and the colour kit too. Now my assignment today is for Mixed Media Monday, which means I need to do some mixed media on today's layout, and I have another assignment which is to include stitching and to customise the black and white floral paper. So in the kit, the main kit, comes this piece of paper here that you can see by Pinkfresh Studio Just, a little lovely, and it has this amazing beautiful watercolour effect background on this side with some white florals, and on the other side it has lots of smaller florals, all in black and white, just the outlines. So what I thought I'd do was to cut out a couple of these really beautiful coloured sprays of flowers from this side of the paper, and then from the rest of the paper cut out all of the little florals and paint them, because they're currently black and white. So I normally would do a mixed media background for my Mixed Media Monday posts, but today I'm doing something a little bit different. I'm getting my paintbrush out and I'm colouring in. So it takes me back to my childhood. I'm colouring in between the lines, but you'll see that I don't actually really colour in between the lines at all when I do it. But yeah, so a nice relaxing lovely thing to do, sit down with a paintbrush. So there's my two floral sprays that I've got going on now, and I'm trying to pick a photo. I had normally, when I prepare these videos, I've chosen a photo already and figured out what I'm going to do, but on this occasion I hadn't done that. So I'm looking at this photo. It's a larger one. It's kind of like a 6x4 landscape, trying to work out which way round I should do this layout. But in the end, I decided to go for a different photo, which you will see that I will I just actually have to print out for this layout specifically, because that size just wasn't working, and I didn't have any other pre-printed photos in my stash that were right. So you can see what I'm doing now. I've pulled out the 3 colours of Lindy sprays that we received in the colour kit this month, and I'm trying to work out trying to make the colours to match the 2 floral sprays that I've already got. So basically I'm trying to create an orange, so I've done that by mixing the red and the pink. It's still really quite dark. These colours are super duper intense, so I'm having a go at blending my colours on my paper, and then I thought I'd add some white acrylic paint to see if I could dull them down a little bit there. Perhaps I should have painted them bright and then added white acrylic paint over the top of them afterwards, but that's only just occurred to me now, so that's no good. So yeah, I'm just going there painting away. You can see that I had a little test area on a piece of scrap paper that's just on the right of my screen right now. The acrylic paint's not really working that well because the white doesn't cover up completely, but does cover up to some extent the lines, whereas when you just apply the Lindy's mixed with watercolour paints, mixed with water, they kind of just watercolour wash over the lines, and you can still really see the black lines shining through, but you can't see it so much when you use the acrylic. You definitely lose the detail, so that didn't work too well. This is definitely my favourite option, is going for just the very, very watered down version of the Lindy's. So I have sprayed some water directly onto my little craft sheet there, and I just keep picking up a tiny bit of colour and then mixing my paintbrush with water as well to get more get lighter colours by using the basically watering down the Lindy's. So you can see that my colours are coming on quite well there. I'm kind of colouring within the lines, but not worrying about it too much, knowing that I'm going to fussy cut them out at some point. So I'm trying to mix like a greeny yellow colour there to go with that greeny yellow that's in the Pinkfresh Studio Just, a little lovely paper that you can see up to the top left hand side of my screen, and didn't really succeed particularly well. It's okay, it matches reasonably well, but it's definitely not perfect, so I'm not going to use too much of that colour, but I thought it would look good on some of the leaves. So yeah, this is a really lovely technique to do, literally just sitting sitting here painting by numbers, really, just colouring in all of these lovely florals, and I say I'm going to cut them all out at some point as well. So you can see now that I'm trying a slightly different tactic, and I have, instead of colouring each individual flower, I have just kind of washed over the whole area with my paintbrush and a wash. So especially the lower one on the left hand side, I really just threw some colour over these flowers. I didn't do any trying to keep within the lines whatsoever, and that has worked quite well. And I say I'm going to fussy cut them out anyway, so it doesn't matter that my colour is outside of the lines. You can see that I keep adding water to my craft sheet there to get more and more lighter shades of colour on my craft mat, and therefore on my paintbrush and onto my paper. So yeah, you can see that what I've been doing there, I had lots of fun actually painting those. It was really lovely, half an hour or so that I spent doing that. Now the less fun part is here, which is that I have to cut them all out. But I don't mind a bit of fussy cutting, so I'm just going to go ahead with that and not worry too much. So I am just cutting them all out roughly at the moment, rough cutting them, just because I find it easier to cut from a smaller piece of paper than to cut from a large sheet. It's much easier to move a smaller item around, because you can see there that I'm fussy cutting, but I am moving my piece of paper around as well as my scissors, so it's actually much easier to cut from a smaller piece than it is to cut from a huge like 12 by 12 piece effectively. So yeah, this is looking really pretty at the moment. The flowers are looking beautiful. As I cut each one out, I can really see how lovely they are. So there we go. You can see there that I'm trying to layer up. Basically, I have that those two floral sprays, but one of them is from the edge of a piece of paper, so therefore it has a straight line, which I definitely need to cover up. So that's what I'm doing with that first big spray of flowers that I've cut from the pattern paper. Okay, so this is a little bit later. I have fussy cut all of those items out. I didn't think I'd make you sit and watch me do all of those. And I have my photo printed as well, so I had to go off and print my photo and do some fussy cutting to finish off getting ready for filming this video, which those sorts of things I should have done prior to starting. Well, not the fussy cutting, but the printing of the photo, definitely. What was I thinking? Sorry about the lighting on this video. For some reason the camera picks, or my phone picks up a colour cast every now and then, so everything kind of goes a bit pink, so I'm not quite sure why that happens, but it does, so sorry about that. Okay, so I have fussy cut all my flowers, everything's ready to stick in place. I've got my two large sprays down first, and then all my other flowers are just tucked in and out. So I kind of just arranged everything on the screen there to make sure that it looked nice, and then I took them all off again, ready to stick down. At this point I went and added some machine stitching to those large floral sprays. Now I had visions of being able to stitch beautiful spirals in gold metallic thread in the center of each one of my flowers. Well, that failed, and I have very wonky looking circles that I'm going to cover up because they're so terrible. I cannot stitch in a circle. That is not within my skill set. It turns out I am rubbish at doing that. I like all the ends tangling. This is my favorite thread that I use. It's a We Are Memory Keepers gold metallic thread, and it's really lovely. It's designed to go through sewing machines, so it's a really lovely thread, and I love the metallic, and it's smooth and it behaves itself generally and looks great. However, I could not sew in a straight circle. That doesn't make sense, but you know what I mean. I couldn't get a decent circle on the sewing machine, so even though the stitching is beautiful, it isn't, because it's wonky, very wonky. But anyway, I'm leaving all the ends hanging because I love the ends of the thread. You do see some of the stitching, but you don't see it. You don't see a full circle because it's just so terrible. So and so yeah. Anyway, I won't be trying that again. Well, if I do, I'll need to practice a lot first. Right, so moving on, I'm kind of getting everything stuck down now, so I just need to put some layers behind my photo. So my photo is printed in black and white. I wanted this layout to be kind of lovely and soft, and also the background of the photo was a turquoise colour, which didn't work at all with this layout, so black and white was a good option here. I've just printed it in a small size, and I've mounted it onto one of the Pocket Life journaling cards, and I've put a small amount of Webster's Pages paper behind it as well, just sticking out. Now, it didn't need a lot. I didn't want a large photo stack with loads going on, because obviously I've got a lot going on in the background with all the flowers. It's kind of, the flowers really are my photo stack, to be honest, so I didn't feel like I needed a ton of paper layers behind my photo. I wanted my flowers to have centre stage, so I've just got the one piece of paper, sorry, the one journaling card behind, plus that one small piece of paper poking out to the right side. Okay, so really getting there now with this layout. Everything's kind of in place. I've added foam pads behind all of my smaller flowers and stuck those in place. I've added rub-ons from the One Canoe 2 Saturday Afternoon collection. They are beautiful rub-ons, absolutely gorgeous. They're a lovely rose gold colour that complements the oranges and pinks so beautifully from the Pinkfresh Studio Just, a Little Lovely collection. It's a beautiful, beautiful colour, it goes beautifully, and rub-ons now, thankfully, are much better than they used to be, and I can rub them onto my layout and they will transfer really nicely and perfectly, instead of leaving half the design on the transfer. So I'm glad that rub-ons problem is now solved, and we have decent rub-ons. So they are poking out some flowers from my flower spray, and I like rub-ons because you can kind of tuck them under and still do the transfer, so it's much easier than stamping, personally, I think. You can add them to a design that's already made, is what I mean, rather than stamping. I have to have a flat surface. So I'm just adding in some bits and pieces of ephemera from the July kits, and I thought my photo needed softening slightly, so I've just added a couple of layers of tissue paper behind the photo as well. It just needed a little bit more separation, but another paper layer would have been too much, so I went for this kind of soft look of the white tissue paper. So that was a nice way of getting that extra bit of separation. So yeah, going through adding some exclusive die cuts now from our exclusive die cut pack from the July kits, designed exclusively by Kim Watson for Hip Kit Club. And they are really beautiful, lots of little small pieces. So I've pulled out lots of flowers and randomly a pineapple and a few other bits and pieces. So yeah, really lovely they are. Now I'm adding in my title, and I'm going for Messy Hair, Don't Care, because she has got some crazy hair going on in this photo. And we both had a little laugh about it, and she wanted me to take a photo because she looked so crazy. So just adding in my title with some stickers. So I have the white alphabet stickers from the Pinkfresh Studio Just, a Little Lovely collection, as well as the gold ones, which are really lovely actually, but I'm going to sew them in place. I'm going to add a line of machine stitching through each one of those. I don't do the white because I feel that, well, actually I just couldn't be bothered to change my thread, so I'd already got gold in the machine, so I wanted gold to go across the Don't Care, but really I should have had white going across Messy Hair, but I'd run out of steam, I think, and I couldn't be bothered to change the thread in my machine. That's terrible, isn't it? I shouldn't have told you. But yeah, so anyway, moving on, adding a few more rub-ons there, a few of the hearts from that same pack, and now coming in with some brads from the Cartabella embellishments. I can't remember what it's called. It's got a decorative brads, I think they're called. That's the one, decorative brad set. So I've put a few of those in. I've gone for a really, really pink sparkly one, and some pearl ones as well, some delicate embellishments. Just going through now and adding some extra splatters around the edges of my flowers, and that's it. I'm pretty much there. So this is me after I've done my machine stitching through the Don't Care, and that's it, layout complete. Okay, so that was Niki Rowland for Hip Kit Club. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed it, and happy scrapping!